The topic for the day is The Inward Light by Dr. S. Radha Krishna. Here, the author refers to basically the inward light, which is very important in enlightening oneself and bringing about a lot of people together. Yes, through this extract, he is actually trying to offer solutions to various ideologies formed and built up together, which are actually pushing away the inward light, that is the self-realization and self-prospering nature of an individual. He has also explained various Indian mythologies and along with the help of certain American examples. Now let's have a look at the summary in detail. Now this is a very simple style and clearly written lucid form of writing. He is basically a philosopher, not a writer, yet he has presented all his views very clearly and crisply in a very systematic manner in his extract. Let's have a look at the summary. The first point is the view of the world. Here the author is actually trying to talk about the various views of the world and beliefs of people in various different gods and goddesses and the ideologies. Here he is comparing the American states and India in terms of forming ideologies for the ultimate truth. That is what he is talking is the inward light. Now, in the first part of the summary, the author was invited to one of the universities, University of Pennsylvania in USA, to deliver certain lectures for academic community. All right, and here he had to philosophize about all these talkings of the inward light or self-realization, where we can actually get down and bring about a beautiful change in the world. Now he is talking about intellectual solidarity. Here the author is actually trying to explain us that an intellectual solidarity is mandatory for an individual to grow and let the world also grow with it. For you to understand that the word the inward light is important to us because it will help us bring about a change together. It will help the humanity to come together and work together. Spiritual view of a man. Now people in India are generally so confused that they either become atheists or skeptics. All right, and eventually in the due course who end up losing all these familiarities and end up confusing, they end up forming spiritual encounter. Now what is spiritual encounter? People falling back for their defense mechanism to spiritual lives is spiritual encounter. Now here what the author is basically trying to say is that we need inward light, that is self-realization. We need to follow certain positivity in life. We need to have an optimistic approach to certain things. So keeping these things and all the supreme values and all the spiritual encounters are of no use. We need to focus on our insight first instead of all these things. Moving on, he's explained that Indians generally tend to follow Avatar Jyoti. Now what is Avatar Jyoti? Avatar Jyoti is a flame dwelling within a human. Now he's trying to explain the concept that a particular flame, the inward light that we are actually talking about in the whole of the extract, is within a human, which he needs to enlighten himself with by having a very optimistic approach towards the whole world. He also explains here in intellectual solidarity that the world is a pure republic of letters and science, which leads to a total of intellectual solidarity. Now let's put it down in words that he sees the whole world as a republic of letters and science, right? Moving on, now he calls human body Devalaya, a temple of supreme. Now actually, according to Indian mythologies and ideologies, Devalaya is actually the temple of supreme, and that is a term given to human body. Now focusing entirely on Devalaya, it will lead you to ultimate truth. All right. Moving on, he has also explained in the spiritual view of a man, he has also explained that India is quite a tolerant country in terms of you following any religion or you profess to any religion you want. There are many religions being followed in India, which has been comparatively studied along with Philadelphia and America. So here the author is trying to explain India being a very tolerant country in terms of religion. Moving on, religious freedom. Yes, we've already discussed the religious freedom, talking about India being tolerant to all the religions. Moving on, universal brotherhood. Now, he wants to explain, the author actually wants us to explain this point as abolishing all the barriers and distinctions. He wants everybody on earth, as a philosopher, not just as a philosopher but also as a writer, to follow a universal brotherhood. Until and unless we follow and we get up and unite together, we are not heading towards or advancing towards a better life. We are just being stagnant. And abolishing all barriers and distinctions. Here he is talking about all caste, creed related barriers and distinctions we need to remove out from our lives. Now, in universal brotherhood, he is trying to explain two more points, the two impulses of a life, that is glorious and scandalous. Now, these are just two impulses of our life, two phases of our life. One where we go glorious, we are victorious, we are happy, and scandalous, where we face a lot of controversies, problems in our lives. We still need to have, and these are two different phases of one coin, right? But we need to face these together, and this is what he is trying to explain in the whole of his extract. He is actually trying to explain and give us a lot of solutions to the ideologies that are being formed and followed here in India. He has brilliantly and very lucidly and clearly written in his extract that following inward light is the most important thing for an individual to grow, and not just for an individual but for a nation to move forward. Thank you all, and all the very best for your exams.